These two guys have Minnesota sports flowing in their veins. Mackey and Judd on Score North and ScoreNorth.com.
Just scrolling through our little group text thread from yesterday. Oh, my God. I wish I could just read Judd's. I mean, you might just say all this stuff on Mackey and Judd today. I'm livid. Oh, man. So let's talk. Declan brought up a good question here that we can get into on our Themes from the Week edition of Mackey and Judd, the OG Score North podcast here. The old afternoon drive radio show on 1500 ESPN. We used to be partners with the Twins back in the day at the beginning of Target Field. Yeah. But Declan posed the question to us just kind of off mic yesterday. Is this the most mad you've ever been at a Minnesota sports franchise? Or what is the most mad you've ever been at a Minnesota sports franchise? So we can dive into that. But first, let's dive into our HVAC systems, MSP plumbing, heating, and air conditioning.
Yeah, and guess what, folks? It has been a summer of ups and downs, but when it's up, the temperature is up, it's muggy, it's terrible outside, and guess what? If your HVAC system, if your AC is not at full strength, and I don't mean it has to be out, I just mean if it is not at full strength, then you definitely need to get that looked at. MSP Plumbing, Heating, and Air are the people to do exactly that. And don't forget, they're also back at Woodbury Days, August 22nd through the 24th, and that event runs the Grand Button Prize every year, and this time MSP, get this, is partnering with Halo Water Systems to give one lucky person a free whole home water filtration system.
Wow.
Free. Absolutely. So check that out at Woodbury Days as well. MSP Plumbing, Heating, and Air, 651-615-4292, or call MSP.com is their website. Call MSP.com.
Also, one more thing here before we dive in, and I don't know, this is probably going to escalate quickly just based on our text conversations last night. For all the men who consume Mackey and Judd and Score North podcasts, an important message for you and all of us. There's a massive need for organ donors in Minnesota right now, specifically men. Only 57% of people in our region here are registered on their driver's license as a donor. Meanwhile, 2,000 people in Minnesota are waiting for a life-saving transplant. So, I mean, any one of us could wind up being one of those 2,000 people needing to save our lives an organ transplant. So the more registered donors we can get on a list, the more likely it is that we can get those 2,000 people and future people the transplant that they need. So there's 4 ways to register as a donor. Your driver's license, when you renew or get a new one, check that box. Online at life-source.org. In the health app on your iPhone, or if you're purchasing a hunting or fishing license online, you can also check the donor box there too. So let's get on this thing here, guys. Let's try to save some lives. So is this the most mad you guys have been in general at a Minnesota sports franchise?
I think so. I think it is. I went back and was thinking about all the other times I've been pissed, mostly at results. Results being like the 2009 NFC Championship game, the 2017 NFC Championship game, other Twins playoff, like just losses that they actually had won or that they actually were in position to win and they just blew it. And I keep coming back to the fact that what they did yesterday infuriates me. And I keep stewing. Like every 2 to 5 minutes yesterday, I would be able to unplug and forget about what happened, or even just like accept it. You know,
I
try
saw
to get to acceptance.
Your loving wife did get you to disengage and watch the Taylor Swift New Heights episode live.
It was good. It was good. They did a really good job. You know, and I like Taylor. I know she's a very polarizing figure, and either you love her or you hate her, and you find her annoying. I actually thought I learned some stuff about her that I didn't know about. So I thought they did a really good job. So yes, for that part, I was still able to unplug a little bit. But the whole reason we watched that was because she said, "You've been pissed off all day. It's very clear. I came home late because I was trying to avoid being home. And we're going to watch something that doesn't involve the Twins." And I said, "Okay, let's do that." So that's what happened there. But yeah, I keep coming back to the fact of, like, when you lose a playoff game and the path was there and you feel like you missed the opportunity, I think that's one thing. For what the Pohlads decided to do, though, I think that's completely different, and it angers me to beyond belief. I don't think I've ever been this angry at a Minnesota sports franchise before.
Well, I lost a team, so that obviously is the top one. I mean,
North Stars.
you're not going to surpass Norm Green taking a National Hockey League, a hockey franchise. Now, this is before we were known as the state of hockey, which is a made-up term. But, I mean, it was still a hockey state, and they moved it to Dallas. So that's number one. And I do think, though, to Declan's point, though, I think, in my opinion, there's a difference between being mad about on-the-field happenings and being mad about ownership, I guess, for lack of a better term, screwing you.
Yeah.
Because I feel like my anger at the Pohlads is anger. I know that people are angry when a team, like in 98 when the Vikings lost, or 2009. I know you're angry, but that's sort of heartbreak. Like, this wasn't heartbreak. I just pissed off. When the Vikings lost those games, it's heartbreak. It's like crush it. It's a different type of soul crushing. So this is up there. I mean, I was also here when Marvin Harv initially agreed to sell the Wolves to New Orleans interests, and it looked like they were going to move. Carl Pohlad offered to contract the Twins and was dead serious. Mm-hmm. So no, this is probably not in my top three, but where this does come in, and this is the thing that drives me crazy, is I hate arrogance combined with incompetence, and that's what this is. It's arrogant people who are incompetent and they don't know it, and nobody who works for them clearly has the guts to say, don't do this, don't do this. You know what? You can fire me, but don't do this. I mean, if you are a self-respecting employee today, up along, not just like a ticket sales, okay? But if you work for the Twins in a high-level capacity and you aren't at least looking at other opportunities right now to get out of this dumpster fire, what are you doing? Like, seriously, I mean, why do you want to be associated with this? They are going to drag it down more. What they have done, again, they're arrogant and incompetent. So I am mad. I'm not heartbroken. I don't feel like, oh, my team was so close. I feel like, as I wrote in my Substack, the Pohlads are now the first family in Minnesota of gaslighting you. That's how I feel.
That is the word that I've been trying to think about this for the last 18 hours or so. I was trying to go to bed before 10 o'clock last night. Wife and I, heads hit the pillow, 9:45. And I'm just like scrolling through fan reaction. I'm like doom scrolling Twins Twitter.
But you did
and
all
YouTube.
day. I swear to God, you did that all day long.
I had one eye on the Vikings practice field, and the other eye just doom scrolling through the comments. Dude, it's the most aggressive ratio I've ever seen on a team-related announcement. I mean, so Thor Nystrom had one of the replies. He was like, I can't remember, I don't have it in front of me, but Thor replied to the Twins press release tweet yesterday with, I'm old enough to remember something, whatever. And his reply has like twice as many likes as the press release that they sent out, that they thought, and this is where I will piggyback off what both you guys are saying. This type of anger is different than the kicker missing wide left or the team being unable to score a run at Yankee Stadium, which like those things are on-field annoyances that do create heartbreak. To me, it's the gaslighting. It's the disconnect between what this organization says publicly versus what they do with their actions. It's like, to me, the communication and some of these ridiculous public like press releases, and I want to read you one from 2 years ago that is, the further out we get, it's just unbelievable that they greenlit this message in October 2023. But the communication with fans does not match the actions of ownership and front office time and time and time again. There's a lot of billionaires who own teams that are not in like the good graces of the public eye. You have a right to own a team. If you're rich enough, you go buy a team. There's a lot of questionable owners in professional sports. there's a lot of bad humans. I think there's I don't think necessarily Joe Pohlad is like a bad human, but I do think they are terrible communicators. And they sit in a room and they write these things that they think will sound good to the public. Like, yes, this is the message that's going to turn around the fans' opinion of the Pohlad family and the Twins organization. These over-the-top, whimsical marketing messages that aren't rooted in reality. They don't match the actions of the organization. Judd said the word. They're gaslighting fans. This is from October of 2023, right after the Twins won their first playoff series in 2 decades. And then they got beat by the Astros, and people were like, who cares? This is awesome. Let's ride this thing into 2024. Let's keep going. We're back. Twins baseball is back, baby. Here we go, all right? And, of course, like, Twins communicators get in a room, and they feel this energy, too. Like, let's do this. Let's get in a room, and let's write this message. Thank you for believing. Dear fans, this season was different. It started with a promise and a lot of chatter. Trades were made. Trades were questioned. Stars emerged. Vests were worn backwards. We clinched. This whimsical, clever, yes, we're going to. Now the other cleat drops. The drought, 19 years. When faced with the weight of history, did you abandon hope? No. You believed. In every high fly near a foul pole, in every triple-digit heater, in a band of promising rookies who graduated to the show, just dripping with whimsicality. All the ups and downs and pun incoming curveballs this season threw your way. You watched, listened, and even traveled cross country to catch your Twins. That's what made this season different. Imagine what next season could be. Imagine spring training has already started. Actually, don't imagine. Believe. See you soon. Your 2023 AL Central Division champion, Minnesota Twins. Yes, let's send this out and let's ride the wave of positive fan emotion. Oh, wait. So that's the messaging. That's the communication to fans. It sounds great in a boardroom. It's just dripping with puns and cleverness and whimsicality. But let's just pause that for a second and let's check in with the actions of the organization over here. The owner goes on state-sponsored radio 5 minutes later and says the team is cutting payroll, has no interest in replacing Sonny Gray's $30 million slot, and that ownership needs to right-size the business this winter.
Yeah.
So, like, how can those two things exist in the same realm? How does that message get green lit when the organization is clearly going in a completely different direction?
Because it's arrogance and incompetence. It's incompetence. Like I'll tell you how they ain't very smart. Like, this is not we're not dealing with, look, all rich people, first of all, this is now third generation, okay? They didn't make this money. They inherited it. And so that, like, anything like that, and nobody stops them. Like when Joe Pohlad, first of all, and not that Jim was Mr. Excitement, okay? So I'm not trying to say Jim Pohlad really knew what he was doing. But Joe Pohlad has no business being around a microphone. He has no business talking to, again, today he had quotes. And he can't explain half the stuff. He won't explain stuff. Nobody has either prepared him or he cannot comprehend what the reaction was going to be. So this is not a surprise. If they had come to you guys at 8, if they had called either one of you at 8 a.m. yesterday, I think the release came out at 9:13 or something, or 9:15. But anyway, if they had called either one of you at 8 a.m., an hour before that came out and said, okay, here's what we're thinking of doing. Not much time to think about it, but what do you guys think? You would have stopped them in a heartbeat.
Well, I think I would have had a bunch of questions like, before, so you guys have decided you're not selling the majority stake. You're bringing on minority owners. My first question would be, okay, you're not ready to announce the minority owners yet because they haven't. Like we don't know. We know there's a Minnesota-based and an East Coast-based. Yeah. My first question would have been, the Pohlad name is super toxic right now in the Twin Cities. All right.
Yeah.
Is there anyone in that minority ownership group Just like with Glenn Taylor, who is toxic, Alex Rodriguez and Mark Laurie are coming in here. And Alex Rodriguez, for different reasons, has been kind of toxic, but it's like, oh, it's new people coming in as eventually majority owners. But Mark Laurie is like this, man, he's a serial entrepreneur who has sold to Amazon and Walmart, and he's a fresh-minded tech guy, right? It's like, let's leverage the freshness and the excitement of two new names to make Glenn Taylor sound cooler and smarter and all these things. Like Glenn Taylor's approval rating, until he, of course, self-inflicted, like pulled the rug on it, went up for like 2 or 3 years because, he brought smart people in, they're winning. So my first question would be, is anyone in that minority group like household name worthy, or could you like attach someone to those groups in a smaller way that people love and know? And like, even if it's a 2% sliver, hey, this person's coming in with some fresh ideas. I would wait until those names are available publicly to make this announcement, for one. But the second thing I would do is, let's comb through this, because again, like where Declan's head popped off his body yesterday is when we got to this part of the press release, which is, we see and hear the passion from our partners, the community, and Twins fans. That passion inspires us. This ownership group is committed to building a winning team and culture for this region, one that Twins fans are proud to cheer for. That sounds great in a boardroom, but in reality, people don't want to hear that you are inspired by passionate fans. People want to know what happened the last 2 years. Right. So before sending any communication out, I would have just said, do we understand how toxic this message is going to be? Like the headline of Pohlads are keeping the Twins. It screams disconnect year after year after year with this ownership group.
Okay, but the first thing that you would have said, and you use this phrase continually because you, thank God, I don't have to sit in meetings all the time. The first thing that you would have told them is,
me?
yes, you do. You have to sit in, which is fine. But my point is, the first thing that the cliche you would have used immediately was, let's put a pin in this.
Let's circle back.
And we'll circle back to it. We're not announcing this without any, like, if you can't come out and say, and I have a feeling the East Coast, I got a feeling I know what that is. I think we're talking about what's the term, private equity firm. I think this is a cash influx grab to get the debt down.
Well, so Joe said that verbatim to The Athletic.
Right, but my point is, I don't think we're going to see names and be like, oh, yeah, okay, yeah, those names I get. And the other thing is, the Athletic story did a good job of basically, within those same quotes that you guys are talking about, of explaining that this is not a transitionary, like this is not A-Rod and Laurie. Hey, we'd like to get involved. Yeah. Like the Ishbias, right? The Ishbias were involved with a minority stake in the White Sox. They sort of hunted around the Twins, and the White Sox are like, hey, let's set up a succession plan. So I don't think that these are names of, oh my God, this is great. I think that this is, as Joe said, they're trying to get the debt down to probably take it back to market. But everything they've done in doing it, again, it's tone deaf, it's arrogant, and it's just not smart.
Yeah, I mean, that's where they box themselves into a corner with the quote of, it inspires us, because now you have to deliver. And I don't expect you to, because what have you shown to suggest that you will deliver on that inspiration and that promise from fans that are pissed off? So like, I think you really have boxed yourself into the corner. And now that we have more information with the minority investors that, hey, it's actually to help pay down the debt. Okay, so also we haven't even really broached the idea or even the discussion of 2 weeks ago today, you gutted half of your roster. You cleared out, $100+ million. You cleared out arbitration eligible players to right size your business. And now you come back and basically are saying, we're going to pull the team off the market. I was talking when I did Royce Unchained yesterday, you guys were at camp, and Patrick had the idea, and I think I believe him. Do you think that this was probably actually, they pulled the team off the market before the deadline? Like, do you think they woke up on this Monday, 3 days ago, and said, actually, we're pulling the team off the market?
Yeah, well, we don't know exactly what the timeline is, but we do know that from the Athletic reporting that these conversations with the new minority ownership partners started at the beginning of the summer. So they probably had an inkling in like June, of several weeks before the trade deadline, that, okay, we're talking to these new groups. not about buying the team anymore. Maybe they were talking to these groups initially about buying the team, but then they got into the. So yeah, like they didn't. I don't. To your point, I don't think they woke up after the trade deadline and. But the biggest thing though is with the trade deadline, because you can justify a lot of those moves. It's just like crazy to see 11 of them in 24 hours, and I still question. Did you actually plan weeks in advance to trade that many players? If you did, okay, then you probably knew what you were trading for. But if it was like a mad rush within 24 hours, I would be shocked if you were able to, with all of those prospects and names floating around that you were considering, how could you possibly have done a deep dive on the assets you were acquiring? All of those assets within 24 hours. And maybe they worked ahead on all that stuff, and I'm wrong. So I will fully admit that I don't 100% know what their process was behind the curtain. But you dumped Carlos Correa, who was at one point a massive asset, maybe even like a year ago. Still one of the best shortstops in all of baseball. And yeah, he's been really bad this year, and there's a ton of questions about his ankle and foot. And generally, I agree with the thought of it's been 4 years of Correa. You're not close to winning a World Series. If you can bail early on that contract, you should. But they literally bailed to just save money.
Right.
And he goes to the Astros, and we're all kind of wondering, maybe they knew that he's completely cooked. He's not completely cooked. He's been one of the hottest hitters in baseball for the last 10 days. And if he has like 2 or 3 years left of high-level production and moving him to third base was kind of a godsend for his career, then you did favors for your future chances to win a World Series by dumping that asset for essentially for cash savings.
Yeah, I was gonna say they did not trade him. They sent I guarantee you, baseball, because it came out that they had to run this past baseball because it's a huge financial cash transaction, and I guarantee baseball said you've got to have Houston send you a player.
So they literally sent.
I guarantee you
a player that's probably going to be a gym teacher in 18 months.
In there is precedent for this dating to the 70s. There was a guy that owned the A's, Charlie Finley, who tried to sell players, and Bowie Kuhn, who was the commissioner at the time, blocked it. Like he's like, you can't just sell. I think he had sold Vita Blue to like the Yankees or the Reds, and
Vita Blue.
And baseball's like, you can't do that. You can't just sell your players. That has to be actual transactions. Yeah. So I guarantee you, baseball came back and said, send the Twins a body. We don't care if as long as the person has a heartbeat.
Does it have a pulse?
Send the Twins. But here's the other question. Oh, so let's just say, for the sake of this entire conversation, and I think it's plausible, that they were really struggling to find a buyer, that $1.7 billion was a real problem because of the debt, and that they're like, okay, we can't do this right now. We need a cash influx. If you're going to do that, why wouldn't you pick a reporter, Ken Rosenthal, I don't care, somebody that you respect, and give them the story and say, this is what is transpiring? I feel like if the Pohlads had been honest about this, like if they literally can't sell, and baseball's like, you can't sell it for 1.3 because the freaking Tampa Bay Rays just sold for 1.7, and so it becomes a problem, which I think is a very plausible explanation. Why don't you pick a reporter who you trust, who you know is going to get the story right, and say, this is why we can't do this right now, and you can write this? I feel like at least then we would all be like, okay, that sucks, but I sort of get it. Mm-hmm. Instead, it's this, completely, it's a fallacy of, we want to keep the team and we want to do this.
But now we're back to the gaslighting part of it, which is like they're trying to make the public messaging dating back to 2023, and this has happened before. They're trying to write messaging, correct, that they feel like will kind of trick the fans, or it's messaging that doesn't align with actions. Mm-hmm. Right. And to bring this all full circle 20 minutes later, the reason why it does, I think, evoke so much emotion and anger is because of that. It's correct. Like obviously melting down in August and September when you have a 95% chance to make the playoffs after stripping payroll, like all of that is super annoying. But then when you drop gaslighting messaging on top of it, it's like, yes. What do you expect the fans to say and do? And guys like us with microphones, like we just, great press release. We're back. Let's hang that as a banner out in left field.
If you had just, and also again, if you had just told the truth, tell the truth, I think that we would be like, again, okay, this sort of sucks, but I get it at least, right? Like you need to get cash. Like nobody, and this is part of a reporting problem, but nobody has really explained like what that debt means. Clearly it's dragging the entire process down. And nobody has come out yet and reported and or a Twins official said, here's the problem with this, okay? So here's why the Rays can sell and we can't right now. But there is nothing that drives me crazier than people that are probably about my intelligence or dumber than me trying to act smarter. Like, I'll give you a perfect example. He's gone now, okay? Thad Levine's the type of guy who on a rainy day could have said, God, it's sunny outside. It's gorgeous outside here. Look at how nice it is. And you're like, oh, wow, Thad, you might be right. Because the guy was super smart, like you could tell. So it's not that I think that nobody should insult my intelligence. It's that I hate when people insult my intelligence who, again, are first of all, sketchy. Like, and the Pohlads are sketchy as far as how they operate, I think, this franchise go. But second of all, like, we're all sitting here dissecting how dumb what they did was. Okay? Like, they should watch this and say, why didn't somebody tell us this? Or did you not listen? That's my problem. I am not for everyone is dumber than me. We've all run across a lot of people that are brilliant and they're very smart. And then it's like, I don't like what you did, but I sort of get it. This isn't one of those. That's my issue here. That's why I'm mad. I'm mad because you're assuming I'm stupid enough to buy your messaging. And I got Joe Pohlad, who's a kid. Basically, he's 40. He's 40. He's a kid. He's not a man.
He's a man. He's 40.
A kid. I got this joker being the mouthpiece. Like, you couldn't even get a good mouthpiece.
I have a thought on the just on the debt thing in a second here, but I think we should take a deep breath for a moment and talk about food. All right, Green Mill restaurant style tavern pizza from our friends at Pep's Pizza. So Pep's makes legit pizza, which we are very fond of and talk about on the show. Green Mill restaurant pizza, a Minnesota favorite brand, an iconic brand in the Twin Cities, with their tavern-style Extreme Supreme, hand-tossed pepperoni, meat lovers, Il Primo. Had one of those about 2 weekends ago in the Mackey household. You can find Green Mill restaurant pizzas and also soft breadsticks and sauces at your local grocer. Learn more at greenmillfoods.com. It's also Pronto Pup season. That's
Mustard.
right.
You know, I'm so upset. I feel like this Judd, this sports dad, is not the right person to do this read, so I'm going to give you a happier one. I'm going to give you Judd on a stick, because this is a man who is happy. Guess why? Because he is going to the state fair, and he is going to be able to get the delicious Pronto Pups, the best food value at the fair, and of course, a day at the fair not complete unless you get that Pronto Pup, and according to Declan, no ketchup,
Mustard.
only mustard. Founded in 1947 by the Carnes family, 8 great locations throughout the fairground, so make sure that you support the fine people from Pronto Pups. Also, don't forget, right here, stop by the Score North booth, right by the grandstand at the fair, and pick up your Judd on a stick. See how happy I look here? That's the Pronto Pup Judd.
So happy. Also, hey, so we, all week long, we have been asking you, the audience, to help us get to $20,000 raised for our annual Power of Sports auction benefiting the Courage Kenny Rehabilitation Institute. And we're sitting here as we record this Mackey and Judd episode, just under $19,000. We're so close to our goal. And you know what would be fun and ironic here is, so we're, despite how angry people are, we are still, and we appreciate the Twins for once again granting us the executive balcony for a night out with Mackey and Judd and the Score North Twin Show. There's 4 available tickets to hang out with us for an early September game. They're $75 a pop. You can buy them now at scorenorth.com/bid. We also have, there's 2 Bert Kreischer Suite tickets left. Or actually, there's 4. They're sold in pairs. They're $100 a pop. And so those are the buy it nows, and a bunch of cool things to bid on as well. Or you can just straight up donate at scorenorth.com/bid. Shout out to Rolex Vans, too, by the way, for their $2,000 match. Rolex Vans, major supporters of the Power of Sports auction and also Courage Kenny. So here's the thing about the debt. So The Athletic reported, and we've had a bunch of different kind of peripheral reporting on this, but Joe Pohlad and sources familiar with the sale process said that the significant investment received by these minority owners that are coming in will be used to pay down more than $425 million in debt accrued by the Twins, which is believed to be one of the higher income to debt ratios in all of baseball. So I think there's two ways to look at this. Right now, that debt is being leveraged by anyone who wants to, including probably us, as a huge PR negative, right? That, oh my God, how could they possibly have, like, the valuation of the team is maybe 1.5 or 1.7 billion, but debt is $425 million. How could this be? So they, from a negative standpoint, it's classic Pohlads, right? They ran media companies into the ground, and now they're the only ownership group in baseball to rack up $400 million in debt. Like, classic, right? It's like, that's how it's being leveraged right now. Well, and again, I'm not going to claim to know everything about how that debt was accrued, but wouldn't another way to tell that story, if you're the Pohlads, be, listen, I know you guys are mad at us because we talked about right-sizing the business. But to be honest, in order to put, and we're not spending like the Yankees, but in order to put some of those teams on the field over the course of the Target Field era, and in order to add significant upgrades to the ballpark, like we're paying for some of these new areas in the ballpark, and in order to keep employees employed during COVID, all of those things have led us to just eat $400 million in debt. So that's why. You guys want to know? We're doing it to put teams on the field, to keep people employed, and to put fun bars around your favorite ballpark. All right? Yeah. You can hate us all you want, but we're doing this for you. Like, wouldn't there be a different way to spin that?
You'd like to
as
think.
opposed to this,
Well,
like,
yeah. But this goes back to when you can't sell the
I just
team.
spun it for you. There it is.
Right, but this is what they should have done. This is why I said you go to like a national guy, a Kenny Rosenthal, and tell him your whole story at least about why you are going to pull the team off the market. It might be temporary. Like, there would have been 1,000 different ways to do this and to tell your story. And I'm not saying that would get 100% approval. People would still be pissed, and I get all that. But this, the way that they approached it, like if you were to take a college class, the Pohlads teach college classes or curriculums constantly on how not to do things. Glenn Taylor did as well. But like I could teach a class
unofficially, or is this? Can I sign up for this class?
Well, I can teach. I can teach the class with what they've done, and they have literally taught classes on how to screw up not just one, not just two, but 3 different forms of media. This now is one, because yes, if you and by the way, if you're planning to sell, but now you can't because of that debt, but yet you can get investors. Think about that story. Like, you can tell that story again. It's not going to get, oh man, look at the Pohlads, they're great, but you've created such a bigger problem. I mean, it's basically the kid that lies, right? The kid breaks something. Parents might be upset, but if the kid's like, I accidentally broke it, but instead the kid lies about it. Well, now the parents are livid because their kid's a liar too. So like, that's my thing is, yes, Phil, you are exactly right. There is a story to tell, and there are probably plausible reasons that they're trying to hide because somebody or they have decided this is the best strategy, and their strategy, once again, like with so many other things, sucks.
Yeah. So I mean, there's a whole conversation about, all right, what once this initial, because this will settle down, and the rest of the season will play out how it's going to play out, but you don't think it's going to settle down?
Well,
I mean, like, people aren't going to be raging like this
no,
on social
I agree.
media. And
what I was going to say is, though, what are season ticket sales for 2026?
They're going
like
down.
Twins TV.
I talked to 2 people yesterday with season tickets that said, number one, they tried to call their rep and didn't answer.
Was below the desk.
No answer.
Hello.
Yep. So, yeah.
I can't talk loud right now.
Yes, you've reached the Twins ticket office. If you'd like to renew, press 1. If you'd like to renew, press 2. If you'd like to renew, press 3.
We're out to lunch.
To hear the options again, press 4.
Anyway,
Yeah,
sorry,
that's not gonna help anything. So, it's and look, the economics of baseball right now are a bleep show. And I know Tampa Bay got 1.7, little, no income tax in Florida. There's a bunch of things at play. It's not just black and white of they got 1.7, so can the Twins. It's not that simple. It isn't. And with baseball likely heading towards an inevitable lockout after next season, with TV deals still up in the air, local TV deals still in a weird spot, I do understand where maybe you didn't get the offer you did, but you walked the plank into the Lions' den, and you are in the Lions' den getting out of it saying, well, what am I supposed to do in here now? It's just, it's baffling, but yeah, I think this helped. I don't feel as angry as I did yesterday. Maybe a night's sleep will do that, but good night's sleep will do that. But yeah, yesterday I was so pissed. I was stewing all day and night long.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't feel. I think I'm just like so removed at this point from. I'm just kind of numb to the way that they've operated with their messaging, and that's the thing that's been the hang up for me. So. Well, that was the main theme from the week, I think, here on Mackey and Judd, where we will see you guys again next week on this podcast. But we have a Score North Twin Show with Doogie coming out today. We've got day 2 of Patriots-Vikings joint practice. So it's a Thor's Day, too, so we'll do some bigger picture topics with Thor. And then, Judd, you and I are going to go and jump on probably around like 4 p.m. Central Time live on the Purple Daily YouTube channel to recap joint practice and a bajillion other things around the Score North network of podcasts. We'll see you guys. It's the OG Score North podcast, Mackey and Judd.